Hello, welcome. You are with Dr. Sushma Singh. Today in Unit 10, Social and Human Development, let us start the lecture with the topic The Human Development Report from Income to Cultural Freedom. The Human Development Report of 1990 was the first in the series of reports which brought the people into the center stage of development debate as is outlined in the foreword of the report of 1990. It says the purpose of development is to offer people more options. One of their options is access to income, not as the end to itself but as a means to acquiring human well-being. But there are other options as well, including long life, knowledge, political freedom, personal security, community participation, and guaranteed human rights. People cannot be reduced to single dimension as economic creatures. The report is essentially meant to point out to those aspects of development that addresses human dimensions. It is not meant to be a model of development like the ones that have been advocated earlier, for instance, the growth model. The report is meant to analyze practical country experience to distill practical insights. Its purpose is neither to preach nor to recommend any particular model of development. Its purpose is to make relevant experience available to all policy makers. The Human Development Reports make a contribution in measure and policy analysis of human development, while the first report brought in the very notion of human development. Subsequent reports have addressed various specific issues of human development like the social, political, and economic. The latest report, for instance, stresses on cultural liberty in today's diverse world. The report attempts to capture through figures and facts difficult and slippery phenomena and concepts such as cultural liberty and cultural diversity. According to the Human Development Report 2004, the human development requires more than health, education, a decent standard of living, and political freedom. People's cultural identities must be recognized and accommodated by the state, and people must be free to express their identities without being discriminated against in other aspects of their lives. In short, cultural liberty is a human right and an important aspect of human development and thus worthy of state action and attention. Now let us have a look at the various themes and foci of the Human Development Report starting from 1990 to 2004. 1990 Concept and Measurement of Human Development. The report addresses as its main issue the question of how economic growth translates or fails to translate into human development. The focus is on the people and on how development enlarges their choices. The report discusses the meaning and measurement of human development, proposing a new composite index. 1991 report Financing Human Development. Lack of political commitment rather than financial resources is often the real cause of human development. This is the main conclusion of Human Development Report 1991, the second in the series of annual reports on the subject. The next one is 1992 Global Dimensions of Human Development. The richest 20% of the population now receives 150 times the income of the poorest 20%. The report suggests a too prolonged strategy to break away from this situation. The first, making massive investments in their people and strengthening national technological capacity can enable some developing countries to acquire a strong competitive edge in international markets. Second, there should be basic international reforms, including restructuring the Bretton Woods institutions and setting up a Development Security Council within the United Nations. The next report is 1993 People's Participation. The report examines how and to what extent the people participate in the events and processes that shape their lives. It looks at three major means of people's participation: people-friendly markets, decentralized governance, and community organizations, especially NGOs, and suggests concrete policy measures to address the growing problems of increasing unemployment. The next report is 1994 New Dimensions of Security. The report introduces a new concept of human security which equates security with people rather than territories, with development rather than arms. It examines both the national and the global concerns of human security. The next report is 1995 Gender and Human Development. The report analyzes the progress made in reducing gender disparities in the past few decades and highlights the wide and persistent gap between the women's expanding capabilities and limited opportunities. Two new measures are introduced for ranking countries on a global scale by their performance in gender equality, and there follows an analysis of the undervaluation and non-recognition of the work of women. In conclusion, the report offers a 5-point strategy for equalizing gender opportunities in the decade ahead. The next report is 1996 Economic Growth and Human Development. The report argues that the economic growth, if not properly managed, can be jobless, voiceless, rootless, and futureless, and thus detrimental to human development. The quality of growth is therefore as important as its quantity for poverty reduction, human development, and sustainability. The next report is 1997 Human Development to Eradicate Poverty. Eradicating poverty everywhere is more than a moral imperative. It is rather a practical possibility. That is the most important message of Human Development Report 1997. The world has the resources and the know-how to create a poverty-free world in less than a generation. The next report is 1998 Consumption for Human Development. The high levels of consumption and production in the world today, the power and potential of technology and information present great opportunities. After a century of vast material expansion, will leaders and people have the vision to seek and achieve more equitable and more human advance in the 21st century? Here we want to close this lecture. We will discuss the next report in next lecture. Thanks for listening.